Evening, everyone. My name is Albert, and I'm feeling a little frisky in terms of not you know, generational things. I mean that, I'm overly excited and very anxious to talk about tonight's topic. And I say that because I'm overly passionate about politics. You feel me? I mean, I never thought I'd be at a point in my life where, the thing that I like the most is the thing that I hate the most. Kind of like our country. Oh, I'm just kidding. Was that too much? I'm just playing, but I mean it. Like, I love it, and then, I hate it at the same time. And I know that sounds strange, but it's just a matter of fact, as it concerns my own opinion when I speak that, meaning that it's not compromised, and I feel like that. But regardless, I got a lot of energy right now. I just had like 2 cups of fresh coffee and also a corn dog waiting for me in the toaster oven. So I'm very excited to get to that portion of my night. I had a corn dog earlier and it was incredible. Shout out to Walmart and Good Value for providing this evening's meal, at no cost to the human being, in that there was no bioengineered food ingredients. You know, Good old Arkansas. My life is so full circle, you guys would not believe it if I told you. But tonight, I'm actually here because, in affirmation of, being the host of the main show on this channel, and the owner of Unique Avenue Media, by the way, we stream 4 times a day. And honestly, I didn't get to thanking all of the new viewers and subs if I haven't already, which I don't think that I did. It's important. It's kind of like a trademark of opening dialogue as it concerns Vlogs About Nothing and all of our programming here that you'll see in the future on this channel. So it's important that people make stands, I'm not the guy that abstains from voting. As much as I want to remain neutral and as much as I do my best to articulate things on my own individual level when I'm learning, and to, slight my learning curve as well as others, it really is important to understand what's true and what's not. You feel me? And oftentimes we can only gather the truth from making mistakes and then evaluating and then moving forward. So this channel, let it be known that publicly this year I'll be voting for Chase Oliver. Okay, so not a lot of people are going to give any real media time to the Libertarian Party, which ironically is the third largest party in this country, next to the Democrats and the Republicans. And, I got to tell you that I read the policy platform as it concerns libertarianism and Chase Oliver, and I'm about it. You feel me? I'm really about it. Now, let's talk about some things that are going to happen as a result. And I've brought this up in the Kamala speech that I gave. Search the videos down below, but that video is pretty popular on the channel. And, one of the things that I pointed out was that the unfortunate circumstance of a third-party candidate is that often, it hinders the ability of one of the major two parties to perform in a kind of competitive way as it concerns garnishing the most votes from constituents. And again, I feel like it's bad in that way because oftentimes people will lose that should have won, point in fact, like Hillary, in terms of that's a good example of a third party that could have, went on the ticket of the Democrats and, could have arguably and inevitably changed the path of our current future, but that's in the past. So we'll move forward. And, I want to endorse this guy for a number of different reasons. The obvious one being that he's not Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. But then the biggest reason is because he instills the kind of values that I'm about. And hear me out here, because this is going to stir up some pots in terms of the older demographic that watches this channel. And, I mean, no disrespect, well, actually, it comes as is given, you know what I mean? I am LGBTQ plus, 4. You feel me? I have no problem whatsoever on a personal level with people expressing their sexuality in an appropriate and a consenting and an adult fashion in the privacy of their homes. It really has no impact or bearing on my own individual life. You feel me? We all make decisions we're all, capable of knowing what's best for us. And so I bring this up, the whole LGBTQ plus thing in relation to Chase Oliver, because the biggest sell for him is going to be getting over the fact that still half of all the boomers in an aging America, really aren't about gay rights. And the guy is openly gay and has made a stance. And I think in the modern time, it's going to work against him, unfortunately, because again, we're still living with people that were like alive and well during segregation, so like math tells me that until those people are like unalived in a natural sort of appropriate, prosperous kind of a way, I wish no ill upon anybody and I never advocate for violence, but mathematically speaking, I'm not the only person looking forward to, boomers becoming like just away in terms of the prevalence of the numbers in that generation that continue to harbor hateful feelings towards groups of people simply based on how they identify themselves is insane. Like, seriously. I mean, you'd think by 2024, people would get over that. You feel me? And this, again, I'll even put it in the title of the video. You feel me? I identify as a religious practitioner. I was born and raised a Catholic. Like, I love my religion. Like, I love God. You feel me? But in no way, shape, or form does, like, I'm not anti-gay, nor do I, like, I seriously, and I don't care what that means to other religious folks out there who for some reason think that, like God or Jesus or whatever wants us to, like, hate on other people because of their sexuality. Like, seriously, like, I'm done with that. You know what I mean? Only an argument I'd hear from an older individual, mostly, a conservative boomer. There are so many good things to take away from conservative values. I myself, I'm a conservative guy, not politically speaking, but I don't, I don't believe in excess. I don't believe in a lot of things. Like, I'm a pretty conservative dude, like, I just, but that doesn't mean that, like, I hate gay people or that, in fact, in any way, should the way that I live my life impact other people in terms of, like, I never solicit religion. I'm not a recruiter of the good old faith. I'm sorry, Jesus, but I'm not that guy. You know what I mean? And again, I know people are going to take that a certain kind of a way, but the facts are as they are. I'm tired of being a religious person and hearing other religious people use religion as some sort of a crutch to validate and justify their hateful and evil ways of unacceptance. Like, I'm not doing that anymore, and I'm pretty sure Alpha and Z are gonna follow that, not because I'm saying it, but just because it's kind of like common sense, with or without religion, there should be no problems with gay people. And going back to Chase Oliver, right, because we just had to do like a 3-minute sidebar on how I need to defend this man, when it comes to older conservative boomer men as it relates to the values that they try to instill on their children and grandchildren, which again only perpetuates hate and fear and things that aren't good. And again, like, why are y'all acting so crazy about that? Don't you want your kids and your grandchildren to grow up in a world that isn't like the one you grew up in? Or are you just so bent on making it so that things are so institutionally racist and biased and discriminatory, and not just on an ethnic level anymore? I mean, socioeconomically speaking, the gap between rich and poor is stupid. This is not arguable. You feel me? So, like, to all the boomer conservative Bible, people out there that, refuse to accept even listening to another person because of how they identify sexually, shame on you. Like, facts. You feel me? And I'm bet on that. Like, I'm not your dude. You feel me? I'm not going to push forward an agenda as a religious practitioner that involves promoting hate in any kind of a way. I'm just not that dude. You know what I mean? Like, I'm much more interested in discussing solutions and figuring out problems and thinking about how people are going to, live their lives and how I don't want there to be war. You feel me? A lot of the same things are found on the libertarian platform. And so I encourage people out there, seriously, to do their research. And if they're not interested in voting for one of the two big party candidates at the detriment to their own values and their own beliefs, you feel me? Don't sell out. Just vote for the other guy. Vote for Chase Oliver. Seriously, because the guy isn't going to be president. I can accurately say this, but the momentum needs to move in a different direction. If the Democrats and Republicans are ever going to change, they need to understand that the demand is there, and that it's unprecedented, and that we no longer want a two-party system that dictates and just does the same thing. It doesn't matter if you're an elephant or a donkey. You're still an animal, I guess. You know what I mean? It's sort of like, where do they differ? The world is unequal. The world is on fire. I've said this analog, speaking, in analogy for a while. It's just sort of like, it's insane. It really is. And so by promoting a third party candidate like a libertarian, I feel like I'm at least doing a service to myself and reminding myself that there are actual people out there who are interested in the concept of the third party and other parties has been around for a long, long, long time. That's nothing new. Let's be very clear and honest and accurate there. But there has never been a need for another party, arguably, in all of the ways we need to accept defeat than now. You understand what I'm saying? And it isn't going to happen this presidential election. It may not happen the next one. But we need to position ourselves we need to position ourselves for success. We need to do some forward thinking. And by discussing third party candidate Chase Oliver as the Libertarian nominee to be president of the United States of America, we're all doing ourselves a huge favor. We're all being, we force ourselves to discuss what the other two political parties just don't want to talk about because they're afraid of losing their seats. They're afraid. You feel me? They're selling fear. They're in fear. And that's dangerous. That's a dangerous situation, y'all. Our politicians should not be fearful of making impactful policy decisions like they are all now. This is without question. The influence of lobbyists and the fact that the Supreme Court in the Obama administration rolled back, limits for campaign funding and disclosure. This country has gone so backwards in the last 20 years. You feel me? And again, it may have started with the good old boy from Texas, who I've always argued for in terms of being loyal to that man as a representative of my community and my region, right? Just as much as the Clintons. But after Obama's first term, 2012 moving forward, this country has done nothing but go backwards by literal decades. So, again, whether it's the Democrat or the Republican or the Democrat again or the soon-to-be Republican again, it doesn't matter. These guys don't care. And I don't understand why people on either side of the argue continue to advocate for these people when they know that they're not for you. And even if you think they are, unless you're handing them large sums of money and you own companies that are meaningful to legislation that's passed as it concerns the regulatory policies that govern these companies, then you don't know. You aren't a part of the problem or the solution. In terms of, I'd argue you're more part of the problem because you fail to recognize that there are solutions to the problem, and that a solution to the problem isn't to continue making other problems. Problems don't solve problems. I'm not a math guy, but I'm fairly certain that can be an absolute truth. I'll have to discuss that one with my roommate. But you understand what I'm saying? I seriously want people to discuss the third party candidate. I want Alpha and Gen Z to be exposed to a different political ideology, because check this out, boomers and all my older conservative friends out there who hate people over their sexuality or just for no reason in particular. Maybe they were hated or something on in life. There is no person, majority speaking, under the age of 40 who doesn't like somebody because of their sexuality. And the people that are highlighted as a result of this and use the conservative platform and the religious agenda to perpetuate their thoughts are false. And they're a minority at best. Because Alpha and Gen Z and millennials, like, we don't care. Okay? Seriously. If I could, do the two birds all at once on camera and still not be, demonetized for that, I'd certainly do it because we don't care. Like, I don't know how I can be any more clear than that. And if there's problems in the future, it's because of all y'all old folks who don't want to listen to people that are half their age and younger about how governing really works in the real world and how people aren't all dumb and everybody is in fact not just some sheep that can be controlled, in a kind of fashion that I guess we all seek out to have. I mean, are we all shooting to be Lex Luthor here? I mean, I'm not sure, right? The whole twist on that one is, did you know that Lex Luthor only hates Superman because he's jealous of Superman? It's not even inherently about what's right or wrong. Oftentimes, comic book characters can demonstrate the fallacies of being a human being, and oftentimes the biggest one is jealousy, right? It's jealousy. It's caring so much about somebody else that you're willing to do things that are absolutely unheard of, that things that you would never think of doing if you were just not jealous. You feel me? Like, if Lex Luthor wasn't jealous, he and Superman could have, like, saved the whole galaxy. I'm just saying, right? Like, partnerships, collaborations, diplomacy, these things are all larger concepts that, again, I feel like have, with irrefutable proof, been something that has been negated by all of the older generations in this country. And by the time they figure it out, or by the time they publicly, advocate for the kind of change that's needed, it's way too late. Things are way too bad. And so that need not happen with this millennial who hosts a show called VlogsBoutNothin right here on this channel. And I appreciate everybody that subs, everybody that watches. You make things real worth my while in terms of, like, I love doing nothing. And I love talking about everything, because talking is the best and, most vital part in what can inevitably be argued as change. And I want to see the world change, and I'm going to do my part in whatever little way I can, whether that means doing nothing, in real life by theorem, like just actually doing that, and then by also publicly advocating for the satirical perspective on life and that laissez-faire. You feel me? Hands off. Like, okay, I mean, I know what's right, I know what's wrong, let's let's let the bad guys sort of just figure it out, with knowing that, like, there's so many more people, like, on this planet that want to do good and that are inherently good people, that it's laughable that people, that are in control and that have power like that think that any of us down here on the lower part of the ladder care at all about them or the policies they continue to push that are only so much more ever enlightening to the fact that they don't care about us. You understand what I'm saying? So, Democrat, Republican, let's vote for the Libertarian candidate. I really appreciate all of y'all's time. I know this was a little bit longer video than usual, but I got a corn dog to eat and some Mary Jane to hang out with and a roommate to talk to stuff about. So I hope that you guys have a lovely night. And that's the extent of my entire life. It's just what I've said. So again, thank you. And I hope that you guys take care. I'll see everyone tomorrow. Tomorrow's not Friday, though. I got to remind myself this. All right. Bye.